Yo, what's good, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another video of mine. This is something new that I'm doing. It's entitled Lee Speaks, and where I'm going to be taking, I don't want to say random questions, but I get asked a lot of questions about a lot of things pertaining to entertainment, movies, TV shows, music. I don't know if I said it already. Just life in general, etc. And I figured creating videos might be a great opportunity for you guys to get to know me a little better on a personal level. So it's gonna be called Lee Speak, something new I'm doing. I hope you guys enjoy it. So keeping in tune with the whole Tyler Perry thing, I've been asked this question several times. As far as who is my favorite TV couple from a Tyler Perry TV show or production. And hands down, it is Janine and CJ from House of Pain. So before I get into that, if this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning family member, you already know what it is and what it always will be. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you choose to. Comment. If not, just sit back, relax, and we really gonna get into this thing. Now, I don't know how long this video is gonna be because I really am gonna go in depth as to why this is my favorite couple from a Tyler Perry TV show. So I know if you have been listening to me for a while, I've stated that Sisters is the first TV show that Tyler Perry has written that I've actually watched through and through. That still remains the same. I'm talking about the original House of Pain, not what is coming on BET. I'm talking about the House of Pain that aired on TBS. It was by far my favorite Tyler Perry show. I am so grateful that Tyler Perry created the show and he created the characters of Janine and CJ. But I'm even more grateful that he did not write the narrative for these characters. During that time, Tyler Perry actually had a writer's room. He had a writer's staff that cultivated and really brought to life CJ and Janine. I think that Demetria McKinney and Alan Payne did a wonderful job of displaying this married couple that went through the ups and downs of life. We saw so many transitions in their relationship and their dynamic. It was so true to life. It was so personable, and they were written so well that for those who don't know, I am a writer. I've written plays, I've written short films and books. When I am in the brainstorming process, there are three couples who I keep at the forethought of my mind: Janine and CJ from House of Pain, Darius Love Hall, Anita Mosley from Love Jones, and Whitley and Dwayne from A Different World. They are my muses, I guess you can say. But as it pertains to CJ and Janine, just going back from the beginning, when we were first introduced to this particular couple, and if you have not seen the original House of Pain, if you watching the current one now, trust me, go back and rewatch the original because it is so amazing. I tried to watch the new one. I actually did reviews on it. If you go back in my archive and just go down the rabbit hole, you'll see some of the reviews I did for this new House of Pain. Y'all, I tried to stick with it. I tried, but I couldn't. It was horrible for me. My expectations were shattered, and I was so excited about the resurgence of House of Pain. I was one of them people. Okay, I was one of them people that emailed Tyler, that wrote the company. I did all of that because I was petitioning him to bring back House of Pain along with me and a bunch of other people. I was one of them people. Like the show meant that much to me, and I was just so disappointed by what he brought back. I really was. Tyler says that his audience knows his voice, and he's not lying, because when House of Pain came back, I could honestly tell that it was him writing, because he did not write a single episode of the old shows. He produced and directed, but he did not write. So with CJ and Janine, initially we saw this, what seemed to be this loving couple, this this middle class family, had 2 children, but we were able to see such a transition. We saw Janine go through a crack addiction. We saw them get divorced. We saw her go through her she hit rock bottom. We saw her go the many attempts to go to rehab to get clean, and she would fail every time. We saw them date other people. We initially saw them get back together. We saw her get pregnant with the twins. We actually saw a journey, and I'm one of those people that loves a good journey. And Janine and CJ, to me, represented that. They represented something that was so beautiful when it comes to Black marriage. And one of the things that I truly loved about their dynamic is that the people who wrote their story really highlighted the power of forgiveness, because Janine put that family through a lot. And we also saw what happens when a spouse is holding on to hurt, disappointment, and animosity. And that's what we saw with CJ, because even though they got remarried and they were starting their lives over again, there were certain things that he was holding on when it came to Janine's past. So not only did she have to work through her issues of her addiction and choosing her family and choosing to be clean, but CJ also had to choose to love her in spite of, to forgive her in spite of, to not hold her past against her. So I think, there were certain elements of their dynamic that really meant a lot to me as a person. Forgiveness is one. A lot of people, sometimes we hold on to things and it does not benefit us. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people feel like, they're playing themselves if they forgive someone who hurt them. But a lot of times we end up holding ourselves back from true love, joy, and happiness when we can't, or when we choose not to forgive. And for me, that was one of the most powerful, I believe, elements of their relationship. And also, they were just cute together. They were cute together. I would study them. I would watch intently to how they placed their hands on each other. They were, to me, very convincing that they could possibly have been a couple in real life. I know that wasn't the case, but they were just so believable. And a lot of people listen to my sister's reviews, and some people think I just don't like Tyler Perry. I love Tyler, and I adore him for the things that he has been able to do. It's just that watching his newer stuff, the fact that he is writing, sometimes I feel like there is, how can I say it? It's like the heart is missing. You know what I'm saying? Like when I look at Old House of Pain and certain things, there was a heart there. There was a certain, I don't even know how to describe it. There was a certain emotion that you would get watching those shows. And now it's like, I feel like that's missing. Like even with Sisters, I feel like there are certain couples, certain dynamics that could be better than what they are. It just feel like there are situational things happening, but there is no heart. There is no meat in it. It's just these random moments that create these major situations, but it's like the emotional aspect. They have emotional situations, but it's like it's void of emotion. It's void of that thing that makes it true to one. I can only speak for myself, but that's how I feel. But getting back to the people, Janine and CJ, I think one of the most beautiful episodes of them was Janine's anniversary. I think it was like her 3-year anniversary of being clean, and CJ forgot about it, and he was like in a mood. He was mad at her for doing something, and he completely forgot about how important this day was to her. And at the end of the episode, he really made it up to her and let her know how proud he was of her. And I thought about that, being in relationships, you can do things. You can show someone you love them. You can, you could be there for them intimately, sexually, all the above. But knowing that your spouse, the person that you've decided to spend your forever with, is proud of you because they understand your struggle and they understand the hardships and what it actually takes to maintain a clear mind, to be clean. Like I really want Tyler to get that. I don't know every writer that was in that writer's room when they created House of Pain, but I want him to get all of them and put them back and let them write for him, because they had such a pureness. They had such to me, a keen eye for comedic timing, because even though like you normally see Alan Payne in serious roles, to see him, or very dramatic roles, but to see him in this comedy, it was so refreshing. And I think the chemistry between Alan and Demetria was so good. It was just so good. I get asked a lot of times about Zach and Fatima on Sisters. And I know they are a lot of people's favorite, and I think that's fine. But for me, CJ and Janine will always be my favorite couple. I think that I was talking to one of my friends, and we were actually discussing them, because there was a time where Janine and CJ were not hitting the mark with each other. She was working a lot. He was feeling neglected. He did express those things to her, but he ended up kissing another woman. And he believed that she was attracted to her boss. Her boss was Rick Fox fine self. She was attracted to him, but she never crossed the line physically, but I believe emotionally there was infidelity, but she didn't let it go too far. And they were contemplating getting a divorce. And my friend was we would watch. It was so bad. Like, I had all the House of Pain DVDs, and I would really like keen into their scenes, because they were just that great on screen together. And so me and my friend was talking about it, and it was like, she didn't know how Janine could forgive CJ for kissing this other woman in their house. He kissed the woman in their house. Now, I got to say, now don't get me wrong, certain things are just for TV and entertainment only. But what I was telling my friend was, he forgave her for burning down their house, for neglecting him and their children, just walking away from their family as if they never existed. But that's how bad her addiction was. Like, Janine was in the dumps. Janine was living in crack houses. It was bad. Like I said, for those who have not watched it, I beseech you, my brethren, I really encourage you to go watch it. And even if you have watched it, just go back and look at those shows. Like, it's such a, they were just so good. But I was telling my friend, CJ made an intentional and conscious decision to forgive her so that they could be a family again. And sometimes, I'm not saying you allow someone to walk over you, because there are certain things that may be deal breakers in your life or in your relationship. But I admire the fact that, like I said earlier, forgiveness was such a standard in their marriage, that sometimes, who you with. If forgiveness wasn't a thing, a lot of marriages would have ended year 1, month 3. If forgiveness wasn't a vital component of the relationship. And see, I think even with Curtis and Ella, and how they would go to them when they needed advice, when they just needed a listening ear. And there was another moment where Janine ended up getting pregnant. She had twins. She had a girl and a boy, Hayden and Jaden. And Jaden tested for he had autism, and Janine felt it was her fault. She feels like it was a drug she was using and it could have affected her child, and she blamed herself. And CJ, being the man that he is a protector and a provider of his family. He encouraged her, like, it's not your fault. We gonna get through this. We just gotta do what we gotta do, but we gonna get through this. And then he went to Ella's house and he cried. He just felt like, I don't want my son to have a hard life. And he just let it out. And that was so important too, to see this black man who was married to a black woman, who loved his black family, and he was able to show his emotional side when need be. And I love that. He wasn't ashamed of it. He wasn't embarrassed by it. And it wasn't a thing where he was considered a simp. I don't even know really what that is, but I see it a lot. But I know it's supposed to be pertaining, I guess, to men being emotional of some sort. I don't know. But sometimes I hate that stigma that's put on black men as if they can't cry, as if they can't be emotional. And like some of the same things that people would say a man is being too emotional, but then in the same breath saying he's not emotional enough or he needs to get in touch with his emotional side. So I love that as the writers wrote that aspect for CJ, that he was very what's the word I can use? He wasn't shy about letting every facet of himself as a man, as a husband, as a father to be shown. And it was a beautiful thing. I just really liked them. I loved them so much because for so many reasons, but it was just like the different, as I'm talking, I'm thinking about specific episodes. There was an episode where CJ was a firefighter, and he was getting on this one guy who was slacking, who was dropping the ball, and the guy was like, I'm gonna do right. I'm gonna be the firefighter that you need. I'm gonna do everything I need to do to make you happy, like to be a good member on this team. And that guy ended up dying. And of course, CJ blamed himself. And even though Curtis would get on my nerves, Curtis, when he needed to be serious and when he needed to be there for his family, he was there. And that's one thing I do love about the dynamic of CJ and Curtis, because we found out that CJ was adopted, so he's not blood related to Ella and Curtis. But I just love that we saw black men taking care of black men. Like, I feel even more so going beyond CJ and Janine, I believe the representation that we saw in the original House of Pain was so needed. And I feel like it's needed now. That's why I say I wish Tyler would go back and get those writers, put them in the room, and let them do their thing on these shows he currently have, because they brought such a beautiful, passionate authenticity to the characters, which made great television. It made great shows. I always rooted for Janine and CJ, even when they weren't together and they were, dating other people. I was like, I don't like that girl he with, or with Janine. Like, I know her dude fine, but I'm gonna need her to get back with CJ. Like, I always rooted for them, and I'm so happy with how their marriage worked out. And I just think they just were a great display of black love, of black triumph, of black victory, and just showing that everything ain't gonna be peachy keen in your relationship, but you have to make an effort. You have to make an effort to keep your love together. And I think that they just did a great job with that. So like I said, I'm so grateful that Tyler created Janine and CJ. And I think like Demetria wasn't even supposed to be, I think she was only supposed to have like 3 episodes she was supposed to be a part of. She was not supposed to be a series regular. She was not. But I guess Tyler saw something, and I'm so grateful for his eye, you know what I'm saying, and what he saw and how they took that character, because it was needed. I don't think I've ever seen, that I can remember for myself, I don't think I've ever seen a character, a mother, a wife, and was black, who was addicted to crack and was performed the way that Demetria performed that role. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And then to see this woman get up out of that, dig herself up out of that, and to be able to forgive the man who was giving her the drugs in the first place. Like, he died, and she was there, prayed for him, took care of him. Like, that show was just so firmly based on love and forgiveness, and I loved it. And I wish we could get that again. I long for that. Like, it's so vitally important for us to see representation, and not that you mimic what you see, but it's great to see. And we didn't have to wait 5 episodes for a day to go by, or we did, and I think that's what helped it too. Like, we were able to see this woman hit rock bottom, in and out of rehab. The last time going to rehab, sticking it out, rebuilding her relationship back with her children, regaining their trust again, rebuilding her relationship back with CJ, regaining his trust again, so much so that, he wanted to marry her again. Like, it was such a, it was needed. That's what I would say. It was needed. And I don't know if we'll ever see that again from a Tyler Perry production, because he is writing all the shows for the most part. I don't watch Assisted Living, nor do I watch the current House of Pain. So I don't know who's writing those. Like I said, I gave up watching the new House of Pain. But I just, they will always be my favorite Tyler Perry. Just in general, one of my favorite couples, just in general. They were so, they complemented each other very well. Very well. I don't know. That's all. I could talk about them, because as I'm talking, like I said, there are so many episodes that are popping up in my head. They were not together, and after a drunken night, CJ was drunk. They ended up having sex, and she got pregnant, and she was thinking it was her boyfriend at the time, but come to find out, he was sterile. He couldn't have kids, so it only left CJ. And it was just so funny because he was actually seeing someone too. And I was like, how this gonna work? But it was the way that the writers pulled that thing together. It was magnificent. It was, and you know what? I don't know y'all names, but if a writer, one of y'all, happen to come across this video, I want to let y'all know from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you. You did a great job with this show. But yeah, I don't want these videos to be too long. They're my favorite character. They're my favorite couple. 2 of my favorite characters in the whole Tyler Perry umbrella. They were so needed for such a time. They are needed again to see positive, a positive Black couple, not without issues. And I don't see, the only Tyler Perry show I watch right now is Sisters, and I don't see that represented there. Regardless of who people like, I don't see that represented. You can have issues, you can have problems, but I think the characters are so immature. To me, it's almost hard to root for them. It's like, I think you deserve better. So it's like, we need y'all to bring back some good, positive Black love, people. Tyler. But I'm going to leave it at that. But they're my favorite. For everyone who've asked, Janine and CJ will always be my favorite Tyler Perry couple from a TV show. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope that you have a great holiday going into the new year. And like always, you know what I'm saying? Y'all be safe out there. And I will holler at y'all later. One.